Welcome back students, myself Vishal Pandey and I welcome you all again in my online class. So we have already taken a British Establishment and Administration and we have already discussed Regulating Act, Pitt's India Act, Chartered Act of 1813 and now we have taken Chartered Act of 1833. Because it is there in your textbook but not in so much detail, but I will be explaining you the details of Chartered Act so that you can correlate this act with your life and in your life you can implement as well. You should know about Chartered Act of 1833 because it is more important than 1813. How and why? The topics which we will be covering here is monopoly of trade, control of company, we will see, administration once again, that how the company works in India, then basically central legislature, provincial legislature, and then finally revenue we will be discussing in this act. So children, if you remember, I have already told you in the previous videos of Chartered Act of 1813 that tea trade was only one monopoly which was left in the hands of British government, and trade with China. When they were trading with China at that particular time, they were having monopoly, and when they were trading tea with China or anybody else, they were trading with any other countries, they were pursuing that monopoly which was given by British Empire. So basically monopoly was just of tea was there in the hands of Britishers. So it should be very clear to you. If you talk about Chartered Act of 1813, this monopoly of tea and trade with China as well collapsed. What it means? That British government took back, British Empire took back this monopoly as well. What it means? That Britishers currently at that time they were not having any monopoly to trade. Tea trade was the only one monopoly which was there with Britishers, and it was also taken back by British Empire. So no monopoly was there till after 1833. So this was very realistic in nature. If you talk about, yes, exactly, I told you this, tea trade and tea trade with China was stopped, was banned by British Empire. Let's see what happens next. You can see this portrait, the combination, the relationship between India and China at that particular time was broken off, and because of Chartered Act of 1833 especially, the company's commercial activities were completely closed down. If you remember, when I was telling you about commercial and political issues of East India Company, you can imagine at that particular time that commercial issues were looked after. The board of directors which were there in 24 of members were there in that particular agency, and if you have if it is there in your mind that the political issues were controlled by the board of control itself, they were 6 in numbers. So basically the commercial issues were banned, were stopped, and it will be now after 1833 all the control of commercial issues will be in the hands of British Empire. Now let us understand it more so that you can correlate yourself. If you remember, in Regulating Act as well as in Pitt's India Act, there were only 5 or 6 points basically, but in this particular topic, that is in 1833 of Chartered Act, 1 point has been removed, and this will be the provincial legislature. I will tell you more about this in the next slide, in the next slides to come, but let me inform you, draw your attention towards the other points. One more topic which is there in this act is other points. Now what are other points? This will be also explained to you. Let us talk about the control of company. As I told you right now, if you remember, The commercial and political issues, the commercial issues were looked after the court of directors, which were 24 in numbers, and the political issues were looked after board of control, which were 6 in numbers. But keep this in your mind that with the Charter Act of 1833, the commercial issues were banned and the court of directors were not very much important after 1833, because British Empire gave a message, passed a message to East India Company that in India you have to look only to the political issues, forget about commercial issues. We will be taking charge from London of the commercial issues. You just go through political issues, just have a control over the territories of India basically. Then you can see, this is the, on the screen you can see that political issue was emerged and the court of directors and board of control were now given the monopoly to adjust this political issue in India. The commercial was taken back. One more change which came into existence was the reformation of Governor General of Bengal into the Governor General of India. Basically I will be telling you, look, this is the Bengal tiger. On that tiger man is sitting is the Governor General of Bengal. If you remember, before 1828, I must say this, if you remember before 1828, with the initiation of Regulating Act in 1773, Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of Bengal, and then Cornwallis, and later on many of them. But in 1828, it was for the first time when a man became the Governor General of India, and that was Lord William Bentinck. Let me tell you about him as well. Governor General William Bentinck, he became Governor General of India. Now what it means that you were having Governor General of Bengal, then Madras and Bombay as well. Provincial legislature were destroyed. Provincial legislature were abolished, you can say. And because of that, only one Governor General was reinstalled, reformed to look out the whole nation. Now he will decide, like Prime Minister as today, he is looking after whole nation. Similarly, Governor General of India will look after whole nation. Who became the first Governor General? You should know this, Lord William Bentinck. Now this is the portrait of different presidencies. This all structure was abolished by British Empire. Now from 1833, no Madras presidency will be there, no Bombay presidency will be there, and no Bengal presidency will be there. Who will be there to make laws? Only Governor General of India and the central legislature. Now one more change was there in the Executive Council. Only 3 members supposed to be there, but after 1833, by this Charter Act, one more member was added in the Executive Council, and the Governor General of India used to make law. But remember one thing, they are only proposed to suggest the laws, but the acts were approved by British government in the Parliament of England. So this was a change. All the laws, all the regulations from 1833 will be made by British Parliament, and it will be implemented in India. These people were not granted that permission to make laws and all. Before 1833, Governor General of Bengal, Madras and Bombay were involved in making the laws. But after 1833, the laws and regulations were directly approved by British Parliament, and they are only supposed to follow it. So this you have to also understand. From Chartered Act of 1833, laws made were called as acts. Yes, this is very important. Before 1833, the laws which were made were called regulations, but after 1833, the laws made were called as acts, because it was passed, it used to be passed from British Parliament. So this is also important as far as this act is concerned. Now we have discussed control of company, administration, central legislature, provincial legislature. Basically इसको हटा दिया गया provincial legislature को, so it got abolished from this criteria. You have to just imagine this, that provincial legislature has no importance in Chartered Act of 1833. Revenue and then other points. We will be discussing about revenue and other points. Look, revenue, if you remember, in Pitt's India Act and Regulating Act, there were two types of revenue, the commercial one and the revenue generated from the territorial possessions or British possessions in India, and later on the salt tax as well. Because the commercial and issues were taken into the consideration by British Empire, so commercial trade were abolished now, because it will be looked after British Empire itself. So the two taxes which were there after 1833 were the British possessions in India and the salt tax. Let us have a look about other points. This is important because some questions can be asked you in future, not in class 8 only, but this is to be aware that you should know about St. Helena Act. What is St. Helena Act? Chartered Act 1833 is also called St. Helena Act. Why? What is St. Helena? Let us understand what is St. Helena. Now this is the globe of world. This is the map of world, physical map, as you can say. Now you can see this symbol, and this is representing St. Helena Island. What is St. Helena Island, children? This is St. Helena Island. It is an island, and it is in when you come from Europe, like this is African continent, and there should be Europe somewhere here. And if you come from Europe, St. Helena is in between. People used to take rest whenever they used to come from Europe at this particular island, and then they used to cross Cape of Good Hope, and then straight away they came India. So basically when they are coming India, they used to take halt at St. Helena Island. So look, this is the portrait you can see. It was an important stopover for ships sailing to Europe from Asia and Asia from Europe. It is a vice versa. And Asia from Asia, when the sailors used to come, they take halt at St. Helena Island, and then they used to move to Europe. So this was the name of St. Helena, and because of that island, the Britishers gave this act, Chartered Act of 1833, St. Helena Act as well. So whenever the examiner is very sharp-minded, he don't use Chartered Act of 1833 word, he just use what do you understand by St. Helena Act, and you will say that sir has not tell us that what is St. Helena Act. So be aware about this as well. It can be asked vice versa, and watch this video as many times as you can. Be very prepared about Chartered Act of 1813 and 1833 as well. Now this chapter is we have covered 95% of this chapter. Only the army, police services and the collectors, which are called the district magistrate, to be discussed in detail after this presentation. Thank you very much.